Have you ever believed that even the strongest bonds can survive any storm? That no matter how bright the spotlight or how crushing the expectations, the love between two people could remain unbreakable? If so, you may need to rethink everything you thought you knew about BTS. Because tonight, one question is echoing louder than any sold-out stadium roar. Was Taehyung truly the reason behind Jungkook's heartbreaking collapse, caught on camera in a moment so raw it has left millions reeling? And if that is true, what does it mean for the future of the group that defined a generation's faith and loyalty? The footage itself is difficult to watch without feeling something tighten behind your ribcage. In it, Jungkook is sitting alone backstage, his head buried in his hands, shoulders shaking with a kind of silent sobs that can only be born of exhaustion or betrayal. The date stamp in the corner shows that it was recorded just 2 weeks ago, on a night that was supposed to be a celebration of everything BTS had achieved together. Yet as the minutes crawl by, it becomes clear that something went terribly, irreversibly wrong. Who was holding the camera? Why was Jungkook left alone in that narrow hallway when the echoes of the encore still rumbled from the stage? And most unsettling of all, where was Taehyung? The man who has, for years, been his closest confidant, his co-conspirator in laughter and mischief, the member he once called his other half. You can hear it in Jungkook's voice when he finally lifts his head to speak. His words are hoarse, almost too quiet to decipher over the hum of the venue's ventilation system. But if you listen closely, if you let yourself lean into the heartbreak lacing every syllable, you will hear something that no scripted variety show or glossy magazine spread could ever prepare you for. He didn't even look at me. He just walked away. What could have happened to make Taehyung, the member so often praised for his empathy and warmth, turn his back in a moment of such obvious distress? Was it a misunderstanding? A clash of egos magnified by the suffocating pressures of fame? Or was it something deeper? A fracture that has been growing silently between them for far longer than anyone dared to suspect. Fans have long clung to the belief that Jungkook and Taehyung shared a bond no conflict could break. From their earliest days as trainees to their triumphs atop global charts, their friendship has been one of the most treasured pillars of BTS's mythology. Entire fan communities have been built around their camaraderie, analyzing every smile, every shared glance, every playful exchange for reassurance that the connection was real. But in the aftermath of this footage, even the most devoted believers are being forced to ask a question so unsettling that it feels almost sacrilegious. What if the affection was never as unconditional as it appeared? It is impossible to watch the video without feeling a sense of intrusion, as if you are witnessing something no outsider was ever meant to see. The image of Jungkook wiping his tears with the sleeve of his performance jacket has already been replayed millions of times across social platforms, each view compounding the disbelief and speculation. And as the video's reach grows, so too does the urgency of the questions surrounding it. Why did no one step in? Why was a camera rolling when the youngest member of the world's biggest group was falling apart? And most damningly, why has Taehyung refused to comment on what happened? You have to wonder if this silence is strategic, a calculated attempt to let the scandal fade before it metastasizes into something uncontainable. Or is it an admission of guilt, the unspoken acknowledgement that some lines were crossed that night which cannot be redrawn? Industry insiders are already whispering that this moment is the culmination of months of tension. According to sources close to BTS's management, the group has been grappling with increasingly bitter disagreements over the direction of their solo activities. While the official narrative insists that each member is pursuing individual projects in harmony, the reality behind closed doors is said to be far messier. One person with knowledge of the group's internal dynamics described a series of heated exchanges between Jungkook and Taehyung over their promotional schedules. Jungkook felt like he was being sidelined, the source alleged, and Taehyung was tired of having to reassure him that it wasn't personal. If that account is accurate, it suggests that the breakdown caught on camera was not a spontaneous eruption, but the inevitable consequence of a rift that had been widening for months. Yet even this explanation fails to account for the raw desolation in Jungkook's voice. When he whispered, "I tried so hard," he was not speaking as an idol or a global superstar. He sounded, heartbreakingly, like a young man who had run out of ways to make himself understood. What is it about this footage that feels so unforgivable? Perhaps it is the way it punctures the fantasy that fame insulates you from the ordinary agonies of being human. For years, fans have taken solace in the idea that no matter how grueling the schedules or how ferocious the scrutiny, BTS's bond would remain a sanctuary. To see that sanctuary shatter in real time, to watch Jungkook's composure disintegrate without even a comforting hand on his shoulder, is to confront the possibility that the group's most precious promise, to always be there for each other, was never as invincible as we wanted to believe. And if that is true, what does it mean for the future of BTS? Can a group survive the revelation that its most celebrated friendships are vulnerable to resentment and neglect? Or will this moment prove to be the beginning of an unraveling no one has the courage to name out loud? Even now, as the footage continues to spark outrage and heartbreak, Taehyung remains conspicuously silent. Some defenders have argued that he is simply respecting Jungkook's privacy by refusing to comment. But others see the silence as something closer to cowardice, a refusal to face the consequences of actions that have left millions questioning everything they thought they knew. It is a testament to how beloved BTS has become that so many people are desperate to believe there must be some innocent explanation. Perhaps Taehyung was called away by management. Perhaps he was unaware of how distressed Jungkook had become. Perhaps the footage has been edited to exaggerate the distance between them. Yet the longer the silence stretches, the harder it becomes to dismiss the evidence of our own eyes. What if this was not an isolated incident, but a symptom of a deeper rot spreading through the foundation of BTS's unity? If so, how long has it been there, hidden behind the dazzling lights and perfectly choreographed performances? How many other moments of private despair have been buried beneath layers of PR spin and carefully curated content? You can feel the desperation in the way fans have reacted. On Twitter, hashtags like #ProtectJungkook and #WhereWasTaehyung are trending globally, each one a plea for answers that may never come. Fan theories multiply by the hour, some so outlandish they verge on conspiracy, others heartbreakingly simple. He just needed his friend, and his friend wasn't there. Perhaps the most devastating possibility is the simplest one, that the pressures of unprecedented fame have finally outstripped even the strongest bonds. No group in modern history has carried a burden comparable to BTS's. For more than a decade, they have been expected to embody not just artistic excellence, but moral perfection, to be flawless brothers, tireless advocates, unshakable role models. Under such pressure, is it any wonder that even the closest friendships might begin to fray? As the hours pass, more questions emerge. Why did no one on the team intervene when it became clear Jungkook was in crisis? What were the other members doing in that moment? And perhaps most haunting of all, what will happen when they are next forced to stand together on stage, pretending that everything is exactly as it should be? Will we see a reconciliation? A carefully orchestrated show of unity meant to reassure fans that nothing has changed? Or will the next public appearance only deepen the sense that something precious has been irretrievably lost? The tragedy of this moment is not simply that it has exposed the group's vulnerability. It is that it has exposed ours, the part of us that needs to believe in the fairy tale of perfect, unconditional love. To watch that fairy tale unravel in real time is to confront the truth that no one, no matter how beloved or successful, is immune to the corrosive effects of disappointment and exhaustion. And yet, even as the footage continues to spread, there is a part of every fan that refuses to let go of hope. Perhaps there will be an explanation. Perhaps there will be an apology. Perhaps this will be the crucible that ultimately forges an even stronger bond between Jungkook and Taehyung. But until those answers arrive, we are left with a single, unrelenting question. Was Taehyung to blame all along? And if he was, can BTS ever be the same again?